All right, getting ready to do a review soon here on this Bear Creek Arsenal BC9 bufferless 9mm. But before I get started doing that, since everyone seems to be talking about it now, I figured I would put my 2 cents in there. I don't have any guns that I'm going to try to make fire themselves or anything like that, but I figured I would give my thoughts on it. Surprised no one has asked about it, but I do see a lot of comments for people making jokes about guns going off on their own and stuff of that nature. So I figured I would just give my 2 cents on what I think's going on. Again, not going to be out here trying to intentionally make firearms go off on their own. But either way, before I get started doing that, as you know, I want each and every person that's watching to be certain that they know Jesus Christ as their Savior. If they do not, please reach out to me in the comment section or at gsquaredtactical@gmail.com. I also have a video up explaining in detail how you can know for sure that you'll go to heaven when you pass and have a relationship with Jesus Christ. So take care of that today. Today is the day of salvation. Also, if you like the content, if you like what's been going on lately with G Squared, with Amanda and I, take this time to go ahead and hit the thumbs up and subscribe. Also consider going over and supporting us on Patreon, 5, 10, 20, or how much ever you want to pay per month. I do upload everything over there, so at the very least, you can watch all of the videos that are on YouTube over there ad-free. Also, go over to our website at gsquaredtactical.com. Click on the link in the corner of the screen now. Once you get over there, you click on the 3 lines in the left-hand corner of the website, and a scroll will pop down. At the very bottom, it'll say support the channel. You click on that, a box will come up that says name your price. I think it's pre-inserted with $5. If you want to pay more than that, you can wipe that out, put in the amount you would like to pay, one-time donation. We push people that direction because we get the majority of that, like 97%. You can also do super thanks, but we do understand if you're not able to monetarily support us, fair enough. But if you could just watch the video in its entirety, because that helps a ton, you have no idea. And also make sure you subscribe. So to speak to the whatever's going on with Sig Sauer, okay, it is not and never has been and never will be my MO to try to pile on, okay, to try to destroy a business. As a business owner, I believe wholeheartedly that a man will always, God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. And I believe wholeheartedly piling on to a company or wishing something bad to happen with a company, you will reap exactly what you have sown. And also the Bible speaks about, taking joy from someone else's failure and how that's going to come back and get you as well. And, that's going to apply to a lost man that don't believe it or a saved man that does. Either way, that's going to apply to you. I personally, and as you know, this channel is based off of my personal experiences. I don't watch other people's reviews unless I'm prompted to go look at one for some reason, something I may need to know. I personally have never had a SIG that has went off without the trigger being pulled. I've had a ton of Sig Sauer products. In fact, I've probably had just about everything that they have offered, especially if it was new to the market. With that being said, I understand that saying things like what has been said definitely plants a seed of doubt in anyone's mind, okay? And I've carried the very first, not the very first SIG I ever had, but probably like the second SIG. I think the very first Sig Sauer I ever owned was a 3-inch 1911, okay? Love that little thing. And the second one I ever had, actually the first gun I ever had in my life with a red dot on it, my wife got for me for Christmas, is a P320 Compact RX. And it had the Romeo 1 red dot on there. I still have the gun. I've shot it a ton. And the only thing it wouldn't do was eat steel. But outside of that, it's been a fabulous gun. I carried it a lot. I never had fear that it would go off. I never feared the gun at all, okay? Now, granted, that was 6-7 years ago, okay? But either way, that's kind of how new I am to the red dot world. But anyway, I'm not discrediting anyone's experience. Any videos that have been put up showing them going off on their own, obviously the folks that have lost their lives because of that or been injured, that is a horrible, horrible thing. And I am saddened to hear that that happened. And I don't discredit at all that the firearm may have been in some way related. All I can do is speak to my personal experience. And my personal experience is that, and you know, the thing is about the 320 RX is when I got that thing for my wife, I took it out to my service van and I was looking for something. I don't remember, an Allen maybe, at looking for something to tighten something down on the gun. And I remember very vividly dropping it in the back of my service van, and that little hook where the two doors at the back close, it hit that hook and put a big bad mark in the gun, and it blew right out like it never existed. I don't even remember where the mark was at, but I do remember dropping the gun, and it was loaded at the time, and it did not go off, okay? So I don't know. All I can do is speak to my personal experience, but I don't want to pile on either and say, you know, to heck with Sig, whatever. Now, it seems to be true that they are not taking responsibility for this. They're still in a lot of ways trying to pass the buck off onto their customer, which if that's the case, you know, that's unfortunate. They certainly should not be doing that, and it certainly is not helping their cause. There's no doubt about that. And they should take responsibility. They should pull whatever they think may be unsafe, do a mass recall, a voluntary buyback, whatever, regroup, accept responsibility, and, you know, start over with this thing, do something different, okay? I do believe they should do that, because not doing that is just hurting them more and more and more, for a company that I believed wholeheartedly. I used to tell my friend all the time, who was a big Glock and a big Sig fan, that I felt like if there was any company that ever had the chance of knocking Glock off of their perch, if you will, it would have been Sig, with the introduction of the 365 and how wildly popular that thing was. And then this happened. And it has never been my goal to pile on to someone just for the sake of getting views or anything like that. Again, my personal experience has been completely safe. My wife has an AXG Legion P320 sitting beside her bed, on her side of the bed. I feel perfectly fine with that. I don't have issue with it being there. That gun has also been tossed down on the bed or something. I've never had fear of it going off. But again, it does plant a seed of doubt, okay? People may think that. People make jokes in the comment section all the time about, you know, Smith & Wesson, the fact that I did a video saying it's a worse gun brand, and because again, that has been my experience as far as QC issues. But I don't wish, you know, anything ill against Smith & Wesson. That's the truth. I literally have a Bodyguard 2.0 in my pocket right now. It's what I carry all summer, or have been, for my own personal defense, okay? And I trust the gun completely and totally. It's been fine for me. Even the Bodyguard ported was fine for me. The compensated, this is no problems with it. I don't say the things I say about Smith or report the things that happen to the guns that I've had because I want them to fail. It's an American company. I'm a business owner too. I want them to do great. I do what I do so that they can simply just do better. So my thoughts on the whole situation is that I don't think it's fair in a lot of cases for people to just keep piling on, because it's very obvious, in the case of some of the videos I've saw, it becomes pretty obvious pretty early on in the video that it may be a really good possibility they're doing this just for views, okay? Now, there was one, I think, where the guy was showing repetitively how that he was able to push down on the slide and the striker was would you know, go off or whatever without the trigger being pulled. You know, listen, I don't know. All I can report is that nothing like that has ever happened with any Sig that I've ever owned. Sig is not my favorite brand, not by a lot, The only Sig that I've ever carried was that 3-inch 1911 and that P320 Compact RX. The only Sigs that I've ever carried other than the P938 that I pocket carried for 7 years. Of course, it was a hammer fired gun, and so was the 1911, which really doesn't fall in the category. However, this thing is hurting Sig really, really bad. And I think them continuing to be quiet about it, continuing to act as though it's not happening, is really, really hurting them. I know it is, actually, because people are coming into the gun stores I frequent every single day, just trading them in for pennies on the dollar, just getting rid of them, okay? To the point that gun stores are not taking them anymore. Some of them are even putting signs on the door, we're not taking P320s on consignment, we're just not. And one store that has a lot of their products has even talked about liquidating what they have and just getting rid of it and not buying anymore until this whole thing is figured out. Okay, that is astounding to me, the way that people have turned on Sig, as big of a fan base as they had. And so regardless of what is going on, it is obvious that the optics is hurting them from the gun community. And so with that, I believe they should stop right now, do a voluntary buyback, recall, whatever they need to do, no matter what it costs them to do that. I think outside of doing that, all they're going to do is destroy themselves, put themselves in a place of having to potentially file bankruptcy. And they absolutely should just, again, I don't know how that would look, okay? A voluntary buyback, like, hey, if you have one of our P320 products, submit the serial number, some pictures, whatever the case is, we'll give you a price to buy that product back from you, and or voluntarily take them back, rework them, do whatever. Stop producing the things, just stop. You know, I do think that it's a very arrogant slap in the face that they just released $1,000 380 in the 365 Lux or whatever it is. I mean, the optics of that is really bad. It is like a slap in the face to everybody that's had problems with their products, safety issues, and also to release a 2011 well over $2,000. Again, it's just an arrogant slap in the face, and it is bad optics. And I just feel like they should. That is just a messed up thing for them to have done with everything that is going on. And I think they do need to accept responsibility for this thing, because I believe in doing so, that'll go a long way with the public and what they think of them and the optics surrounding this whole thing, and do some type of voluntary buyback, or I don't know, recall, take them all back, we'll buy everyone that's out there, just buy the things back. I mean, they'll be getting the guns back, and they can rework them, change them, whatever. At least they'll have it in their possession. I don't know what that's supposed to look like, but I've never had a Sig Sauer that I felt uncomfortable carrying, and they have all been decent pistols for me. There's some that I've really liked a lot, and I hope they get it figured out. And I want to have a conversation, because not many of my subscribers have talked much about this topic, and most of them have always been huge Sig Sauer fans, and every Sig Sauer that I have ever put up as a video has always done well. So I would like to know, since there's not been much conversation in my comment section, I would like to know what your guys' thoughts are on it. And, what do you think Sig should do? And have you personally had any issues with the Sig Sauer products and safety concerns? If you could just reach out and let me know about that. Just wanted to kind of give my thoughts on the whole thing. I know it ain't much of nothing, but if you could just let me know what your thoughts are, I love to hear what you guys have to say. I'm very active in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. Again, the platforms you can support us on, but make sure you subscribe. And as always, on this beautiful day with the cicadas going crazy in the woods, to God only be the glory.